Today, we're plunging into a classic debate, one that really stirs up a lot of passionate discussion. Animal protein versus plant protein. Which one truly reigns supreme for building muscle? I mean, it's no secret protein's essential, right? Crucial for building, repairing, maintaining, well, pretty much everything in our bodies.
Indeed. And when we talk about protein, maybe think of it like the ultimate multi-tool for your body. It's not just muscles, it's the microscopic scaffolding for everything. Your hair, hormones, organs, bones, skin.
Everything.
Literally, every single cell in your body has protein in it. It's truly foundational.
And our mission here in this deep dive is to take this stack of sources you've shared with us and really, pull out the essential takeaways on this fascinating and sometimes, let's be honest, confusing topic. What do you think is the biggest misconception we should tackle first?
Well, I think the first thing is simply understanding what protein is, beyond just a buzzword. Proteins are these complex molecules made up of smaller units, amino acids.
Right, amino acids.
And our bodies actually need 22 different types of these building blocks to function properly.
22. Wow, okay. That sounds like a lot to keep track of.
It does, but here's the really crucial part. 9 of those we can't make ourselves. They're the essential amino acids, the EAAs. We have to get them from our diet.
Ah, okay. So diet is non-negotiable for those 9.
Exactly. And unlike, say, carbs or fats, we can't really store proteins for later use. That means consistent, regular intake through what we eat is absolutely vital. For muscle repair, yeah, but also growth and just overall body function.
So it's not just about hitting the gym hard, it's about consistently fueling the machine afterwards. And you mentioned it's not just muscle repair. What else is protein up to?
Oh, it's incredibly versatile. It forms the actual building blocks for things like cartilage, skin, bones. It controls how cells and tissues grow, develop, repair. It helps transport oxygen everywhere. Brain, muscles, you name it, supports the immune system, helps transmit nerve impulses so cells can talk to each other. Plus, it makes up enzymes, which are critical for, well, thousands of chemical reactions that keep us going.
So it really does debunk that idea that protein is only about rebuilding muscles after a workout.
Absolutely. That's just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
It's remarkable, really. Okay, so let's look at where we get this stuff. We often jump to animal products, right? Meat, eggs, dairy. But our sources pointed out something interesting about global consumption.
Yes, that's a key point. While animal products are definitely excellent sources, plant protein actually provides, get this, at least 60% of the total protein eaten by humans worldwide.
60%, that's huge.
It is. So common animal sources are what you'd expect. Red meat, pork, chicken, fish, eggs. But on the plant side, we're talking whole grain cereals, nuts, bean, legumes, and fermented foods like tofu and tempeh. Lots of options.
Okay, now let's get into the core of the debate, the big difference everyone talks about, the level of those essential amino acids, the EAAs. This brings us to the idea of a complete protein.
Right. And this is where things get interesting. Animal proteins, generally speaking, have much higher concentrations of these EAAs.
It's higher concentration.
Meaning you
Right.
typically need to eat less of it, volume-wise, to hit your daily requirements for those essential amino acids. Plus, many animal proteins are naturally complete. They have all 9 EAAs in good amounts.
And they're easier to digest, too, I read.
Research suggests that, easier digestion often means better absorption of those amino acids. So for muscle building specifically, this combination, high EAA content, completeness, easier digestibility, often leads people to consider them, well, superior.
Makes sense. What are the top animal sources then?
The most protein-rich ones, you're looking at fish, eggs, dairy things like cheese, milk, whey protein, poultry, chicken, turkey, quail, and red meat, beef, bison, venison.
Okay, so animal protein seems like a pretty direct route for hitting those EAA targets. But what about the plant-based side? Can someone really build serious muscle just eating plants?
The big question. And the answer is yes. Plant-based muscle growth is every bit as achievable. It might just take a little more, let's say, strategic planning.
Strategic planning. Okay.
And the benefits of plant protein go beyond muscle. Think lower levels of saturated fat and cholesterol. That's linked to a lower risk of cardiovascular disease. Plus, you get fiber, which is fantastic for your digestive system.
That's a definite plus. But what about that incomplete label? Most plant proteins aren't complete, right?
That's generally true. Most are considered incomplete, meaning they might be a bit low in 1 or maybe 2 of those essential amino acids. However, some plant proteins do actually provide all 9. And even for the incomplete ones.
Yeah, that incomplete protein thing, it seems to fuel a lot of skepticism about plant-powered fitness, doesn't it? How should we think about that?
It absolutely does. And we need to address that skepticism head on. Can plant protein build muscle just like animal protein? The answer is a clear, resounding yes. It absolutely can.
Okay.
I mean, look at the number of professional athletes now who are thriving on plant-based diets. They maintain incredible physiques, top-level performance. They're living proof it's possible, provided you're smart about it. Hitting your overall protein and calorie goals is key.
Right. So it comes down to getting enough protein, regardless of source. What are those typical requirements if you're aiming for muscle growth?
So for just maintaining muscle, you're generally looking at about 0.8 to maybe 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight each day.
Okay, maintenance.
But for actively building muscle, we need to bump that up. More like 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day.
That's quite a jump.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to hit those higher numbers using plants, where do they even start? What are the go-to plant protein sources?
Great question. First step is knowing your options. Some might surprise you with how much protein they pack. You've got soybeans, edamame, and soy products like tofu and tempeh. Very versatile.
And tempeh, right?
Then there's seitan. That's a wheat-based meat substitute, often very high in protein. Lupini beans are great. Lentils, other legumes like beans and chickpeas, though, keep an eye on the carbs there.
Good point.
Nuts are good, too, especially almonds and pistachios. And, of course, you have plant-based protein powders and bars, which can be convenient.
Are any of those standouts, like surprisingly dense in protein or easy to cook with?
Well, tofu, tempeh, and seitan are kind of the golden items, I'd say. Their protein per ounce can be pretty comparable to meat, actually.
Wow. Okay.
And just for some quick numbers, pea protein powder can give you around 30 grams in 4 tablespoons. Tofu, maybe 15 grams in about 3 ounces. Lentils, roughly 9 grams and a half cup serving cooked.
That's really helpful for planning meals. Now, you mentioned incomplete proteins earlier. This old idea that you have to combine specific plant foods like beans and rice in the same meal to make a complete protein. Is that true?
The protein combining myth. Yeah, we can definitely put that one to rest. It's outdated. Our bodies are actually much smarter than that.
How so?
They can store pools of essential amino acids from the different foods we eat throughout the day. So if you have beans at lunch and grains at dinner, your body can pull the necessary amino acids from both to build complete proteins when needed.
So it's about the whole day's intake, not one single meal.
Exactly. Variety is the key. While some plant proteins like soy and pea protein are complete on their own, focusing on eating a wide range of different plant foods. Eating the rainbow throughout the day ensures you get all those EAAs.
Makes sense. Variety over strict combining. What else should people be mindful of if they're upping their plant protein?
One thing to watch is the carbohydrate content. This is where it can get a little tricky, especially if you're focused on fitness goals. Well, sources like beans and lentils, while great for protein, also come packaged with a fair amount of carbohydrates. If you're significantly increasing your intake of these to hit protein goals, you might unintentionally overload on carbs.
And that could lead to unwanted body fat gain, right, alongside the muscle.
Potentially, yeah. So you need to be strategic. Maybe lean more on lower carb, high protein plant sources like tofu, tempeh, seitan, and nuts, or consider using a plant-based protein powder to boost protein without adding lots of extra carbs or fats.
That's a smart approach, being mindful of the whole package, not just the protein number.
Yeah.
And speaking of broader ideas, this brings up some common myths about protein in general, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Lots of those floating around.
What's one you hear all the time?
That protein is somehow the most important macronutrient. That's just not accurate. All 3 macronutrients, carbs, fats, and protein, are essential. They all play critical roles.
Right, like carbs for energy.
Exactly. Carbs is a primary fuel for our brain and muscles during activity. Plus, whole food carbs give us fiber, crucial for gut health, and fats. They're vital for cell structure, insulating organs, absorbing certain vitamins, and providing essential fatty acids that help manage inflammation. We need all 3 in balance.
It's a team effort, not a solo star. Okay, what about the idea that you basically can't eat too much protein?
Another big myth. The reality is most people in developed countries, especially the U.S., actually consume more protein than they truly need.
Really? More than needed?
Yes, an excessively high intake, particularly of animal protein, partly due to something called purines, which can raise uric acid levels, might increase the risk for some chronic conditions. We're talking certain cancers, cardiovascular issues, kidney strain, bone disorders, even liver problems over the long term.
Wow. So there's a downside to overdoing it, especially with animal sources.
There can be, yes. Interestingly, plant protein intake is generally associated with a reduced risk for chronic disease and mortality. So source matters there too. As a general guideline, most people need about 0.36 to 0.45 grams of protein per pound of body weight daily. So for a 150-pound person, that's around 54 to 68 grams. More if you're highly active or building muscle, of course, but not unlimited amounts.
That's a really important distinction, quantity and source. Okay, and let's circle back to the plant-based skeptics. Can you definitively build muscle on a plant-based diet?
Let's be crystal clear. Yes. Building muscle comes down to two fundamental things. One, consistently challenging your muscles through exercise exertion. Two, consuming adequate calories and varied protein to support repair and growth.
So stimulus and fuel?
Precisely. As long as you meet those two conditions, you absolutely can build muscle, whether your protein comes from animals or plants. The source itself doesn't prevent muscle growth if the quantity and stimulus are there.
Got it. And what about protein supplements? Is it like if you go plant-based, you automatically need a powder?
Not necessarily. For most people, even those eating exclusively plants, protein needs can definitely be met through whole foods. Think beans, lentils, tofu, nuts, seeds, whole grains.
So supplements are more about convenience?
Largely, yes. They're very convenient if you have really high protein goals like a bodybuilder aiming for 200 grams or more a day. Or if you have a super busy lifestyle and struggle to prepare enough whole food meals. But remember, whole foods usually offer a better overall package.
Better package how?
They come with fiber, vitamins, minerals, and those beneficial plant compounds called phytochemicals, which most supplements lack. So the idea that it's impossible for vegans to get enough protein, simply untrue.
Okay.
Protein deficiency is real for anyone with access to enough food and eating a reasonably varied diet. The plant kingdom is packed with protein. You just need a variety of sources.
That's very clear. So pulling this all together, what does this mean for someone's actual workout routine and recovery? Do the rules change depending on where your protein comes from?
Fundamentally, no. The basic rules for fueling your workouts and supporting recovery stay the same, whether you're eating chicken breast or a lentil stew afterwards.
Okay. So what are those rules again?
Generally, before a workout, you want some easily digestible carbohydrates and maybe a little bit of protein for energy and muscle preservation.
And after?
Post-workout, the focus shifts to replenishing energy stores and kickstarting repair. So complex carbohydrates, a source of healthy fats, and critically, plenty of protein.
And the timing. That post-workout anabolic window we always hear about.
Well, there's always debate around precise timing, but the research increasingly suggests that hitting your total daily protein intake goal is actually more important for muscle growth than nailing some perfect 30-minute window after your workout. Consistency over the day matters most.
Good to know. Less stress about rushing for that shake.
Exactly. And maybe the most crucial point of all, diet alone doesn't build muscle. Food is great, food is vital, but if you're not challenging your muscles through resistance training or other demanding activities, they simply won't grow. Doesn't matter how much protein you eat.
Right. Training provides the signal, nutrition provides the building blocks.
They go hand in hand. You absolutely need both.
Okay, so let's recap. What we've seen from the sources is that whether you choose animal or plant proteins, both routes can be effective for building muscle. It seems plant-based approaches might just require a bit more conscious planning and attention to variety to ensure you're getting all those essential amino acids and enough total protein, but it's definitely achievable.
Absolutely. And perhaps the final thought to leave listeners with is this. Maybe shift the focus slightly. Instead of just asking which protein is best, consider how you're combining your chosen nutrition strategy with consistent, challenging training. And maybe even ask, what's the ultimate goal? Is it just muscle size? Or is it a balanced approach that supports muscle and long-term overall health? That might lead you to think about your protein choices and your whole diet in a slightly different light. What stands out most to you after diving into all this?